Another Ashes of Creation development update underway, and this one was probably the biggest one we've seen so far. They started out kind of talking about how they discuss ideas between devs and stakeholders and kind of how they bridge that gap, and they discussed that thing. Then they went straight into just showing off stuff. So they showed off the variant wind and movable foliage in the desert biome, and kind of talked about how deserts are typically boring, so they aim to kind of spruce it up. The desert will adhere to seasons and weathers, and with different weather, potential for different creatures based on that weather. And then they also kind of showed a forest in the background, and then they showed some character art, specifically the Jade Sigil, a horseshoe crab type of cosmetic. The horseshoe crab, actually, I never thought I would like a horseshoe crab hat, but you know, here we are. Then they started showing kind of the mounts. They showed a garden mount, Sunplume mount, which is kind of like a mohawk Chicken Little, which I'm into that. And they moved into the creatures. They showed minotaurs, and inside this kind of thing, they kind of snuck in this little phrase, but we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. They showed minotaurs off and on the warhog, and he said something along the lines of, "You'll get to see this more next month." The way he said it, I think he accidentally slipped up a little bit, and it kind of made it sound like we would be able to play it in game next month. So we'll see. Don't hold me to that one, but we'll see. And then he kind of showed serpents with arms, where the tails will be different. He mentioned black mambas and stuff like that, maybe a cobra tail, stuff like that. So, and then he mentioned and showed the first boss that we will encounter roams the Riverlands, not in the same spot. They talked a little bit about how you might see them in the forests, kind of a giant shadow. This thing's huge. It's awesome. They kind of showed then a potato sack dude. They talked about his little tushy, which I thought was also slightly cute. Then they moved on to your own characters and the reveals on some concepts and some models. Last time we saw the Empyrean elves, both male and female concept, they showed off the female model reveal this time, which looks actually very different than what I would have assumed that based off of the concept, which it would have worked. It doesn't look the exact same, but I kind of like it more, if that makes any difference. And they showed the Nequin dwarf concepts, which are great. The Valoon concepts as well. I can't wait to see what they look like with the model based on the way that the difference in the Empyrean elf female concept versus the model are. It's going to be pretty sick to see these Nequin dwarf and the Valoon. And they showed some beetle combat animations, and then just a little sneak peek at some toes. I don't know whose toes. Are they the Tonar? Who knows? Some leaked toes. I don't think she did it on purpose. I think it seemed a little bit on purpose, though. You know, just give us a little bit about what they want. And then comes my favorite part of the entire reveal so far. They talk about the land size is around 400 to 450 square kilometers, but the ocean and lake size is 750 square kilometers. And here we go. Open seas are automatic flagged PvP. What does that mean to you? Are we pirates now? We better be pirates. I'm into this. The flagged areas in games takes me back to RuneScape, you know, where you had to be kind of PvP flagged to get to a certain area and do these certain things. I love this kind of thing. We're just going to be pirates all the time, and I am into that 100%. They slightly move a little bit into the politics and NPCs for areas. It's kind of interesting because they're going to be influenced by changes in governing and with this like happiness scale, which is an interesting name to me, but they could kind of revolt a little bit, and it might help with sieges via like martial law and stuff like that, which is actually hilarious to me, and it brings in a certain dynamic there that I was not really expecting. They've shifted a little bit into caravans. We've talked about PvP and NPCs here, and so now they're kind of bringing the two together with Caravan System, sort of an overhaul type of thing. There's a little bit of a commission change where you prep it and launch it whenever you want, when you have the rights to do so. When you launch it though, your perspective will then jump up to above the node where you can see 360 view, kind of plant it where you want it. But as soon as you launch that, it's going to be a PvP, which we knew, until you cross the final line to be safe, when then guards will kind of pop up from there and go and help you bring it into the pit stop, where you can then launch it again or be done there, and you get to choose that one. Before we get out of here though, I do want to mention in the Q&A, they were asked about gold buying and gold selling and how they're going to do that. Basically, the answer was, we're shutting that down. It's not happening. Part of the reason, he did mention that part of the reason that Intrepid is even a development company was the build up of how they hated this. They hated the need for in certain games to have to do it because development companies and publishers didn't step in and get it knocked out of the way. There will be active managers on servers. There will be active customer service to kind of stop this stuff in its tracks. It's not going to be a slap on the wrist type of situation. It will be something that you are going to fear to do. And I love that answer. These updates are getting bigger and bigger based on how close we get. And the way they did kind of mention you'll see more in game next month kind of makes me think maybe we'll get it sooner rather than later. I know a lot of us thought maybe next year when we got Alpha 2, but maybe it's sooner rather than later. Guys, that's the update. That's the video. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.